You're watching Pyro Media Network.
I could be running or I'm chasing you, but I won't. Cause I got better things to do. Rather spend my precious time chasing somebody who loves me too. If I got $1 for every time you slam the door, I would be the richest girl alive, life. If you hadn't run away every time I asked you stay, you would sleep right next to me tonight. And you didn't know me, all you wanted was a game to play, and you couldn't handle that I had my ways. About your magics and your side chicks, I'm a winner, babe. But you didn't win this, it's a part of
Thank you for
the
tuning in.
game.
If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. All right, let's start the show.
Victorious! Victorious!
Hey. Welcome to this week's episode of Dr. Victorious. Happy Friday, Junior. Love to see all of you, even though I can't really actually see you, but I know you're there. And y'all, at first I was going to try to hide these broken nails, but you know what? Life is about broken nails sometimes, and we just going to roll with it till they grow out and replace. It's okay. I'm happy to have you here. I am Dr. Nicole D. Vick, aka Dr. Victorious. This podcast is a place where we explore the intersections of social justice, wellness, and what it means to show up fully human from a Black perspective, because I am Black. Hey, I'm so happy to have you here. It is Pride Month. Father's Day is coming up. It's the start of summer. Is going to be in a few days. I think June 20th is what's it called? When the day is the longest day ever in the world, and you know it's daylight until damn near 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night. I love this time of year because it allows me to exercise later in the day, and it's not like darkness and looking like midnight, but it's only 4 o'clock. Don't y'all hate that time of year when it's like 4 o'clock and it's dark? It's terrible. This is the best time of the year. So I'm really hope you're doing well. We have a great show. Remember I told you I'm going to do this series every so often, someone you should know. And I'm really excited about our guest tonight. And let's just go into the stroll. Well, no, not yet. I want to show y'all my newest device. I'm not really a person that likes like devices and I got this new thing, but I got an Aura ring on my broken nail. I have an Aura ring. And so an Aura ring is where you put it on, and I was trying to understand the technology. Chat was trying to help me understand it. Something about there's a sensor here that can measure like heart rate and all these things. And it helps you understand your body. Like, hey, you didn't sleep well last night. Which you did tell me that, girl, you only got 4 hours of sleep. What you doing? And I'm like, what you mean? I don't know. It was the heart rate. You can tell when you're exercising, and you can say, yes, I'm exercising, and confirm your activity levels. You can, if you are a person who has a menstrual cycle, you can keep track of those kinds of things. If you're trying to conceive, like it can help you with those kinds of things. And so I'm really excited to use it. I got this as part of a research. I'm doing some research. I can't say what or what type, but they gave this to me to use so that they can collect the data and all that good stuff. So since I'm a science person, a public health person, I like being engaged in research and science. So I'm like, yeah, why not? And the cool thing is I get to keep it. If I want it after the study is over, I just have to pay the monthly subscription. I will say there are other companies that have similar technology. Some don't have subscriptions. You just pay for the ring and use it. So I'm really excited about it. I'm trying to be more aware of my health. And yeah, so I'll keep y'all posted. So far, so good, except for the sleep. Like, child, you need to go to sleep earlier. And I know that's what's wrong with me. I stay up so late, then I'm mad because then, yeah. Anyway, I know that ain't just me going through that don't sleep like you supposed to, but okay. I'm like, can we, Kwame, can we, like, you know how some apps you can like be friends with people? Can we be Aura friends? But maybe I don't want to see yours and maybe you don't want to see mine, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like encouragement, like, did you get up? Because it'll tell you that Aura was like, don't you think you should get up and stretch your legs? And I'm like, oh, okay, my bad. And so I got up and walked around the house and for a minute. So it does kind of, you know, keep you up to date on like, you need to get up and move. And I'm like, oh. And so I got up and walked around. So it's really cool. And I'm excited. And I have that. And I use Map My Walk to when I go walking. So I'm up to 2 miles. I can do 2 miles at a time walking, and I'm walking the fastest that I've been walking since I started back walking. So I can do a mile in about 22 minutes, which probably sounds slow to most people, but for me, that's actually quite fast. Because remember, my ankle was broke, babes. So we back moving. So I do about 6 miles a week, babe. I'll be outside with my tennis shoes on, like, let's go, my music on, walking in circles, but it's fun. Okay, now we can go into the scroll straw. Let's go. So, as y'all know, we had an election. We did. And what is it called? The primaries. I always get the name wrong, but this is the race where they determine who gets on the ballot. So you might see people on social media talking about, oh, this person won. No. They didn't win because there's this, you know, they're trying to figure out who gets on the ballot in November. And so this one to me was the funniest one in the world. And I've been paying attention to it because of the conversations that people were having. So this was from several days ago, and these numbers might have changed quite a bit because I know they're still counting ballots here in California. And so at one point it was Karen Bass and Spencer Pratt. And everybody's like, yeah, Spencer Pratt. I don't really know who Spencer Pratt is like that. I just know what I hear, that he was a sort of reality TV person. And I do know that his house burned down in the Palisades fire. And apparently he was upset about what happened, and he thinks it's Karen Bass's fault. So therefore he's running for mayor. But his only platform, from what I've been hearing, is fire my house, right? Like, people were asking him questions about, well, how are you going to support, you know, Black Los Angeles? And really wasn't no answer. What are you going to do about the homeless problem? And it was very much like, that don't sound, you know, Los Angeles has a huge economy, one of the largest in the world, not just the state of California, not just the US, the world. Like, you need to know some things to be mayor of Los Angeles. You can't just walk up off the street and be like, I can do this better than a person that has decades of experience in community service and in politics, from federal all the way down. Like, so thankfully, by the time, like I said, I started to see these numbers, I'm like, thank you. Good God. What is happening? Because I was like, if this man win, I don't know what we're going to do. Now, I will say that he said if he doesn't get on the ballot in November, that he would leave Los Angeles. So a lot of people are like, we will help you move, sir, because you are crazy. So we'll see what happens next. But it sounds like it'll be a Karen Bass, Nithya Raman ballot in November. And we'll see what happens after that. But at least now the conversations will be what they should be, right? These are folks that do the work, maybe have varying ideologies, but we can at least have intelligent conversations and discussions about what they think the future of the city of Los Angeles will look like. I am a resident of the city of Los Angeles, so I'm gonna be paying attention, but I feel like I already know who I'm voting for. But we'll see. We'll see. So that's the first one. The next one, let's go to the next one. This one is really not like a gotcha or a anything like that, but it's just something that to me, with the losses I have experienced over the last year now, because we're coming up on the year anniversary of John passing away, and then my neighbor just passed. It reminds me, I saw this and I said, oh, I need to bring this up. And I think this is really cool. So I want to share it with you. This is a post on Threads, but I've heard someone say something similar before. I read a book that blew my mind. The main character goes crazy when he realizes no one really knows him. The gist is that the person you think of as yourself exists only for you, and you even don't know who that is. Every person you meet, have a relationship with, or make eye contact on the street with creates a version of you in their heads. You are not the same person to your mom, your dad, your siblings, your neighbors, co-workers, or your friends. There are 1,000 different versions of yourself out there in people's minds. A you exists in each version, and yet yourself, isn't really someone at all. And I thought that was so interesting. And like I said, when John passed, I kind of had that thought process and maybe didn't articulate it well. Like John was one person, but he was more than one person to a whole bunch of people, right? He obviously meant something to me. He meant something to Carlos, his partner. He meant something to his parents who have already passed, his brother. There's these different versions of John, but there's one John, right? And you can even think about that for yourself. Like, I'm one person, but every person has a different experience with me. And it's like, to me, that's kind of cool, but kind of interesting. Like, what? So who am I? Am I all of those? Am I some of those? Am I none of those? Like, it's a really interesting thought process. And if you know me well, I go down rabbit holes like it ain't nobody business. I saw a video of a train and created a whole series of LinkedIn posts about this dang on choo-choo train, and was able to link it back to social justice, organizational culture, and workforce development at the same time. That's how my brain just be woo, 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 all the time. That's why the Oura Ring said, your sleep is toe up, child, because my brain don't never turn off. But again, I just thought I wanted to share that with y'all. Think about it, ponder on it. And, I don't know, if someone has passed recently, think about the many different ways that other people experience that person, or even how you can think about how people experience you in the different ways that they do. It's just something to think about. That's my stroll. So part like, ooh, what's going on with politics? And part, I just want you to think about something. All right, let's go to commercial. We'll come back with our guests. See you in a little bit.
Hey, it's Pastor Kim from It's Just Kim Live Show, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
The news is divided. Ground News puts it back together, with coverage from thousands of outlets around the world in one place. So you can spot sensational reporting, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on. Beside every headline, you'll see who owns the source, how reliable it is, and if they have a political bias. Multiple perspectives side by side, giving you a well-rounded view of today's biggest stories. Visit ground.news to learn more.
This is Tammy from Tammy's Take, and you're watching Pyro Media Network.
And we are back. I forgot to say hi to Cyrus. Cyrus was here earlier. My bad. Ooh, hey, hey. All right, we have an exciting episode. And as you know, like I said, I do these series. I feel like there's so many people that I come across, either in person, online, just folks that come through my life. And I'm like, you should know these people. And so that's where someone you should know, this sort of ad hoc series came from for this podcast. So in this episode of Someone You Should Know, I'm introducing you to attorney, author, literary advocate, and community builder Fallon Hamilton Vaughn. And it's so funny, my daughter's last name is Hamilton. So I'm like, are you kidding? With more than 15 years of legal experience, Fallon has established herself as a respected attorney and leader, but her impact extends far beyond the courtroom. Through her writing, poetry, and the creation of Literary and Lounge, a Houston-based writing salon for women, she is helping preserve the stories, voices, and legacy of Black women while creating spaces where creativity and community can thrive. I'm really excited about this conversation because, again, as I was reading her bio and learning more about what she is doing, I'm like, just listen, a lot of us Black women, we do all the things. We got the professional side of us, and then we learn how to or figure out ways to merge that professional with the personal and our personal interests. And so I'm like, it's going to sound bad when I say this, typical, right? But typical in the sense that this is how we operate. Like we always are like up here on a different frequency on our, the lady had called that food low vibrational, but we be up here high vibrational and doing all the things. So I'm just really excited to hear what she's working on and all the good things. So let's just bring on our guest. Hey, hey, hey.
Hi.
How are you?
I am doing great. How are you?
I'm doing okay. It's getting a little warm down this way. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Calm down. It's not that much into summer yet. We're not there. So I'm like, slow down on the heat. But otherwise, I'm doing okay.
I'm in Houston, so it's already feeling
What already?
Already.
And besides that, we just got through with this election over here. Everybody was stressed out, but I think we're gonna be okay. I think. I don't know. We're gonna see. So, and then we have one in November coming. We'll see. I don't know. But I'm really excited to have you on. And I kind of want to go backwards a little bit before we kind of move forward. So talk to the audience about who you are. I know you grew up in Louisiana, Southern University experience, all those things, and like how you got into law and how you were drawn to the work that you do, your professional work, and then we can kind of dig into everything else. So I'm gonna be quiet and the floor is yours.
Okay. Well, you already got me over here feeling a type of way when you said someone you should know. So I'm happy to be someone that should be known. I'll lead with that. I am in Houston. Like I said, I grew up in Houston, went to college in Louisiana. My parents are from Louisiana, but I'm one of those people who are Houston, Texas down until I cross state lines, and then I'm gonna throw my L's up. Or if they play some Louisiana music in the club, then I'm representing for my ancestral motherland. But yes. Oh, that was a layered question. So
I know, my bad.
Yeah.
How did you get to who you are today, the attorney? Let's start there. Why? Because a lot of times there's a reason.
Yeah. So I grew up in a family where I was having to go to court a lot. I had a sibling who passed away, who was murdered tragically. And that had me going into a lot of attorneys' offices at a young age and kind of having like a hyper awareness of the law and the criminal justice system, and just already coming in at like 10 years old, knowing like, oh, this is injustice, or this is a criminal defense attorney, or this is when something bad happens. So I had a very heightened awareness of straight out the gate at like 10. So I always kind of had that idea of like justice and immortality and all these things in the forefront of my mind, even as a little girl. So, and I probably will age myself. One pivotal moment that made me want to be an attorney was watching that good old O.J. Simpson trial. My daddy was glued to the television, and I was begrudgingly forced to watch that whole trial every day after school, the entirety of it. So I was already perfecting cross exams back in the day. Um, by the time I graduated high school and went to college, I kind of had already knew in the back of my head that I wanted to help people. Um, Advocacy, be it teaching people, learning people, just community building, that was already something I knew was going to be my portion, regardless of what direction I took. It just so happens that I did an internship while I was in college and was surrounded by a plethora of beautiful Black attorneys. I worked with the Louisiana Legislative Black Caucus my senior year of college, and I just saw them flourishing and doing all the things, and I was like, I gotta do that. So I found myself taking the LSAT, going to law school at TSU, came back to Houston, and it's been a decade and some years later, and I have become this person who is signing an ESQ at the end of my name now.
No, that's right. Boom, the letters. Yes. So many things that you said, I want to touch on real quick. So it's interesting how our lived experiences really truly shape sort of where we land, even if we're not aware of it. It sounds like for you, you were very much aware of it, right? You were seeing the things and like, hey, what is this? It's funny you mentioned O.J. Simpson because I remember I was in high school. I can't remember what grade that was, but I remember we were watching it in high school because I remember the verdict came and everybody in the class was like, yeah. They were so happy that he didn't get convicted, right? He didn't get convicted, right? Okay. I was like, wait, am I remembering that right?
If it don't fit, if the glove don't fit, you got to quit.
Must have quit. Johnny Cochran. Yep. So I remember that as well. And for me, I think my journey into like the work that I ended up doing was our riots here that happened in 1992, the Tasha Harlins. And you know what? Side note, it's so crazy how history repeats itself. It was LaTasha Harlins in 1991, 92. Now we just had another young man was killed by another Asian, grocery store. And it was like, wait a minute, we literally, what is happening? What is going on? So tragic. But I'm hearing that, some undercurrents of what you're saying is like your lived experience pretty much shaped sort of your direction in life. And I think that is such a inspiring thing to tell young people. Like, you may think that maybe your life is difficult or hard or things that are happening aren't right. But a lot of times, just keep going because it often is the catalyst for you to get to somewhere else, to be in a position to help other people. And I heard you say that too. I just wanted to help people. And I think that was the same thing. I wanted to help people. I just didn't know what public health was at the time.
Right.
I just knew I wanted to do something and I kind of fell into it and it worked. So I thank you for sharing that because I think it's helpful for a lot of people. Some folks in this generation or generations that are younger than us feel lost. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. And it helps for them to hear. I was living a thing, experienced a thing, and that is what shaped my life. So sometimes we just need to stop and pay attention to what's happening in our lives, and that can help us kind of walk down the right path. So I think that's amazing, and thank you for sharing that. And so you are an author. Can we talk a little bit about that? Like,
yes.
Where did you come from, and like, what have you been writing?
So growing up, writing was kind of my escape. I had so many heavy adult things going on that I had to kind of find sanctity and sanctuary in books and writing and things of that nature. So I've always wrote just like as a comfort for myself. It just so happens that once I got in a position with my career where I had time to actually sit down and write for like personal enjoyment, I got back into writing poetry. So I wrote a collection of poetry, published it, I have contributed to other anthologies, writings, freelance type stuff, but poetry and just kind of like fiction. And I'm a Southern Gothic type girl. So that's kind of the genre I have been dabbling in. So that's what I hope my next project, or I need to speak it into existence. My next project will be something in the Southern Gothic fiction realm. Um, but my first book is called An Ode, and it is a collection of poetry. Um, it's been quite some time since I wrote it. I feel as if I've lived several lives since then. It's a poetry book for people who maybe are going through a point in their life where they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe they are feeling as if they aren't lovable or love or worthy of love. And this one kind of speaks life into that journey. It kind of gives a voice to it. It kind of puts all the emotions that I was feeling during that time on paper. And for all the people who are living that era, I like to say that it is a living testimony that you can get through it. Because I'm not the same girl as it was then, thank God. But the poetry is what got me through those moments.
Wow. Sounds like there could be an ode part 2 at some point.
But I think it needs to be.
Yes. And I love that because, so where is it? Listen, these parallels, because I wrote a journal, but mine is a little different, but it was in that same sort of thing, like how to help people get through difficult times. And mine is called Push Through 52 Weeks of Lessons Through Tough Time. I don't even remember my own title of my book. But anyway, it was like these inspirational quotes and then with writing prompts. So I feel like we maybe there was some similar, some synergy in that respect. So I think that is so cool as well, because I think, again, another way that you are giving a gift to the world where, hey, I was going through a thing and, let me write this out in these, express myself. But now I'm giving this to the world so that if someone else is feeling the same way, they can also, benefit from your words. So you can purchase Fallon's book. There's some links that the producer is so kindly putting in the comments. If you want to pick up a copy, I'm gonna have to go get me one and see, what's going on. And because life about to get real tough right now. This economy is crazy, and it's a lot of stuff happening, and people are really going through it. We have hundreds and thousands of Black women that have been laid off, they have lost their good paying jobs and are having to figure out what to do. And the reality is there aren't any jobs. Like there are, but they're not. Because I have grad students that are coming out of school and they're like, hey, Miss Nicole, can you give me, help me find a job? And I'm usually able to connect people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, girl, I don't even know what to tell you. I've been in panels where I'm talking to graduates coming out and I'm like, we got to address the elephant in the room. Let's not, I know I can sit here and, yay, congratulations, you guys have graduate degrees. The reality is the job market, especially in my field, is crazy right now.
Yeah.
So you got to be honest with people. And so sometimes people need things like your book to push through, to get through to the other side and to understand that they're not alone and use something to help them feel better. So that is amazing. So, your next book, are you starting to write it now, or is it just like right now sort of you're thinking through it?
It's been a work in progress. Anytime life gets to lifing and I have to put my pen and paper down, my husband is always, honey, you need to get to writing. But I'm like, look, I'm out here trying to save the world. I gotta, I have to work on my work-life balance or whatever. But it's been on my spirit for so long that I know ultimately it will no longer be a work in progress. It will be progress and a work. So that's what I'm trying to carve out space to finish, bring it to completion now.
Yes. And like you said, we are going to agree it'll be done. And again, I think it'll be done when it's time for it to be done, and it'll come out when it's supposed to, right? Sometimes we have thoughts about, I need to finish this thing by today, or I need to get this done and have this one idea. But sometimes it works out exactly how it's supposed to happen. So I'm excited to, and I look forward to hearing more about that book. You are also interested or working on preserving the stories and legacy of the Black experience in the South. Do I have that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk a little bit like why is that work important to you?
I feel like history is being erased so much, but also repeating itself. So I feel like there's a whole generation who all the current events, it's like, oh whoa, what's going on? They're shocked. They don't know what's happening. They're trying to get their bearings about themselves. But if you were a follower of history, or those stories as well, good and bad, were preserved, and people will know that history has been repeating itself. Sometimes the biggest lessons that we can learn come from our elders or from our ancestors, or we have to resort to ways and means that situations were resolved. And I feel like the South has always been resilient. We've always been the measure of whatever is going on in the country. It's always going to come through the South. So I think preserving our stories, amplifying them, changing the narrative that people in the South are slow or country or behind or whatever. Let people know that we are out here building our own, trying to find greatness and make greatness with what we have, and it's worth talking about.
Absolutely. And you know what? While you were talking, my next question was going to be, or my next statement was going to be, they always talk about, oh, y'all, folks in the South, y'all backwards and slow. And so, and you literally said it. And it's like, no, no, no. There is so much innovation, so much wisdom and knowledge from folks that are in the South. Also, I often see on threads, I'm on threads all the time. I love it. But I
Yeah.
often see it needs to be studied. How come XYZ, something that most of us that are Gen X or maybe even millennials or older, like, duh, that's common knowledge. But it's like, you guys don't read. Y'all don't read. There's a whole bunch of books that have been written by people from the South. Black folk, scholars, regular Black folk have been telling us, they have given us this playbook that is probably thousands of books deep about how to survive this, because we have survived it. Nobody reads anymore, right? I follow a influencer. Her name is, well, she's not an influencer. She's actually an academic. Her name is Feminista Jones. She has her doctorate in like African American studies, and that's one of the things she says. Y'all keep talking about why is this happening, or this needs to be studied, and she's like, it has been studied. It has been written about extensively by all kinds of people about what this experience, the Black experience in America, is. Y'all don't spend the time. And I'm like, oh, she's telling on all of us, because how many of us actually take the time to learn and understand what our ancestors have done, and how they survived? Because we're going to, and you just said it too, we're going to need to figure that out. How did great grandma make it through? Because we're going to need to pull that playbook back out, especially right now, right? So I think that is so important. And I guess I need to hear more from you, more like what is it? Are you interviewing Black women and getting their stories? Like, how are you making sure those stories are preserved or kept safe?
So I have been talking to my mother, and I regret not taking the time to record my grandmother's conversations. I kicked myself over and over again for not preserving it. Just trying to build like an anthology of conversations, or having roundtable talks with other Black women, or just listening. It seems like listening is the most important thing to it. After the pandemic ended and we were able to kind of get together in real life again, I wanted to kind of bring together a group of women just to be in community with each other, just to write and talk and share stories, and really just lounge and be comfortable enough to share their stories, and just preserving different stories through writing, or encouraging people to give a piece of themselves to the world. Sharing their story has been my big thing. I just want people to be able to have some type of legacy and legs to stand on. Even if you don't have 10 grandkids that you're able to talk to, I want to have some type of living record of my experience, other women who were around me experience, and just the things that I learned and went through, and how ultimately it got me to where I am today. I just think it's so important. Not enough conversations are being had.
Yeah. And I think what's happening is, for some reason, I think we make assumptions about what people know, or we assume, well, why don't you know that? But we have to remember, especially for the younger generation, they don't know who was supposed to have told them. If you didn't tell them, they don't know. And so I think you're right. Like, there needs to be more conversations, more storytelling, more, hey, what was it like when you were a kid? Like, what did you do? What was your favorite thing to do with your mom? Or whatever it is, like, we just need to have that open dialogue. There's, I know, at least one, it's called StoryCorps, I think it's called, where you can, like, fill out an application and you can share stories. And sometimes I come across their Facebook page, girl, I'll be crying listening to these people's stories. And what they do is they animate them in some way sometimes. So you're sometimes watching a cartoon, but it's their real voices of the people that went through it. And it's like so beautiful, these stories. Sometimes they're simple, but very profound, like maybe how we fell in love. We're an interracial couple, but sometimes they're Black families talking about their lived experience. If I remember, I'll share, but I think it's StoryCorps, and Story is CORPS.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think I had wanted to try to tell some, go on there and talk about my family's life, lived experience and things as well. Also, I always tell people, kind of what you said, like, record. My great grandmother's parents were born enslaved in this country, and my great grandmother died when I was 20. That's crazy, right?
Wow.
To think about, like, I should have recorded her voice. I should have asked her, like, but I tried to keep as much as I could keep. Like, I asked her to draw her house one time, and she did. I still have that picture. I have photos and things. So yeah, it's really important to kind of try to capture those moments, because once that person is gone, like, you can't, I kick, like you said, I kicked myself, like, dang, I should have sat with her and asked her about what it was like for her as a child. Like, what was the hardest thing she ever went through, or whatever, just to hear and understand those stories. So we gotta do better. And now we have all this technology and these tools. We can keep stuff, preserve it and hold on to it much better than a piece of paper or a photograph that can degrade over time. So, all right, we need to, my bad, we need to talk. I'm like, we need to wrap up. But I wanted to ask you about Literary and Lounge. What inspired you to create it? What is it? And then you have a podcast, right? Can you talk about that as well?
Yes. So I kind of briefly mentioned the Literary and Lounge. This is just the writing salons, getting women together, storytelling, having space to kind of write without the gaze of others on there, so you can have that comfort level. So we meet, we write, we share, and that essentially is the Literary and Lounge. And kind of also piggybacking off of that, I got really heavy on wanting to preserve my legacy and have some type of manual that I would leave, metaphorically, to the world on different situations that I have encountered in life. So that kind of gave birth to a podcast. Shout out to Pyro Media Network. I spent a lot of time talking into the void, kind of to myself, but to everybody. Just these conversations that I wish someone had hit me to. Like, I just wish I had a manual. And me and my friends, I always say that, like, man, nobody left us a manual on how to do all these things. So I just kind of started talking and saying that I was putting it in the manual, and it kind of evolved from just that idea of making something tangible to leave for other people, a legacy, not a bound book, but something that is just going to survive the test of time, that if somebody's going through something, they'll have somewhere to reference. So, oh, whoa, this situation, man, I think it should be in the manual. It might be, let me go check. And then they'll have that conversation that I've had, and kind of worked through and talked about what I had to put in the manual for myself.
That is so cool. And I never would have thought of something like that, but that is so cool. Well, if you need me to come on as a guest, or if anything comes up, let me know, because that sounds so exciting. There's a lot of things, child. We could talk about. For me, my broken ankle. That could be. We could do a manual on that. Like, this is what you need to do if your
Yes,
healthcare fails you, because they will fail you.
the healthcare manual entries.
Yes, because that was something else. Or even with, like I'm saying, my great grandparents, stuff that I've done with their records and things that I've done on Ancestry to kind of try to collect stuff. Like, whatever topic comes to mind, like if it's something along those lines, I'd be so happy to come on and share. Because it's like
me with a good time.
I really feel like it is our responsibility to, it's not even just, oh, we should do it because it's a nice thing to do. Like, no, I feel like I'm obligated to make sure people that come after me know more than I do. So if I could tell them something, listen, I ain't trying to lead you down the wrong path. Don't go that way. Go that way.
Yes.
Trust me.
That is my exact sentiment.
Listen what I'm telling you. It was such a pleasure having you on. I'm going to go to another commercial break, but thank you so very much. Oh, right quick. When is the podcast, like, so when people can access it, like what day, time, and all that good stuff?
So we drop Wednesdays, noon, my time. We're in different time zone. California time. I'm in Houston, Central Standard Time. So you will be able to find me on streaming platforms. Of course, Pyro Media Network, and YouTube. I'll be around. I will be putting the manual out there and giving it to the world more.
I am so excited. Be sure, I think we have each other's contact. Be sure to send me any information so I can also share it as well when your episodes start to drop, so I can let people know to listen and stuff. We gotta support each other on the Pyro Media Network. You know what I'm saying? So yes. But thank you so much for joining. We're gonna go to commercial and then we're gonna do my doctor's notes before we close. All right, see y'all in a bit.
Hey, how y'all doing? Real quick, this is Daryl Walter, host of the Daryl Walter Show. I know. And you are watching Pyro Media Network.
That was an amazing episode. I'm so happy that we have a new guest or a new member of the Pyro Media Network family. And then just to kind of recap and thinking about some of the things that she talked about, the power of preserving your story and telling your story, writing things down, or if you don't feel like you're a writer, which I don't believe, I think everybody is a writer, maybe a podcast, or you just recording yourself for yourself, maybe for the world, or just for your family. Preserving your stories is so very, very, very important. And then also, I think another thing we kind of landed on was like the younger generation we can't assume that they know stuff. Like, again, how would they know that if nobody told them? If you didn't tell them, then you can't assume they know. And so I think a lot of our stories are lost. A lot of our lessons are lost because we're not sharing the recipes. We always talk about losing recipes. We are literally losing recipes. I have seen people say crazy things about Malcolm X, crazy things about MLK. Like, what are you okay? But we have not taken the time to sit down with our youngsters, our young people, and share. So it's about your family's history, talking to your relatives, recording them, asking them the important questions now. It's about digging into the writings of folks that have lived through the world. We think this is crazy what's going on now. It was the same thing 50 years ago. There are people that wrote about it. There are people that documented it. There are people that talked about it. Read it, learn it. understand it. And what was my last thought about the doctor's notes? I think that's really it though. Like, tell your stories, talk to young people, talk to older people because they got the knowledge too. And also think about ways to make your story, share it and make it permanent so that people can look back on it later on. All right, that's it for me. Just want to remind you all, I'm on social media platforms. I also have a beautiful website. I have books for sale. I have all the things. So I'm on LinkedIn. And again, I've been doing really good on LinkedIn. Nicole D. Vick is my LinkedIn. You can see all my sort of more professional thought processes about things around public health, organizational culture, workforce development, and whatnot. That's all on LinkedIn. And then I'm also on Instagram. I have 2 accounts. My more personal one is Nicole D. Vick, where you'll see me with my outfit on, like, look what I wore to work today. Hey, or I talk about gas prices. And then I have the more professional one where I typically repost clips of the podcast episodes or more like scholarly, academic, public healthy things on that account. That's Dr. VICKtorious. What else? Oh, my website, www.nicoledvick.com. Hey, you can find all sorts of things there. Podcast episodes that I was a guest on other people's podcasts, this podcast. My books are there for sale. I have 3: Pushing Through, Finding the Light in Every Lesson, Push Through 52 Weeks of Light in Tough Times. That's the title of the journal, my bad. And Triumph in the Trenches, which is more about workplace culture, figuring out how to help Black people navigate the workplace. And so again, I think that's another way where we can contribute. How can we be in an anthology and submit a chapter about something that has value to the Black community? And that's Triumph in the Trenches is that thing. All right, y'all, I'm gonna see you next week. We're going to talk about Father's Day, talk about fathers and all the fabulous things they do. You know, some fathers are great, some fathers not so great. We're going to focus on the great fathers for Father's Day and the value and importance of them in our lives. And other than that, I'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.